Who sent you those flowers? Victoria froze at her desk. She'd heard Minjun angry before. Cold fury when deals went wrong. Calculated rage before he destroyed competitors. This was different. This was personal. She turned slowly. Her boss stood in his office doorway, perfectly still in his tailored black suit. His face showed nothing, but his eyes, those dark, unreadable eyes that never gave anything away, were locked on the white roses sitting on her desk. Answer me, Victoria. 3 years. 3 years she'd worked for Seoul's most dangerous man without ever hearing that edge in his voice, that barely controlled tension beneath the ice. A colleague sent them, sir. A colleague. He said it like the word tasted bitter. Does this colleague have a name? Her pulse quickened. Kang Seo-jun. I know who he is. Minjun's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. The only crack in his composure. Korea's golden boy. Tech billionaire. Very clean. Very legitimate. Very interested in my secretary, apparently. The possessiveness in that last word made her breath catch. Sir, it's just flowers. He was being friendly. Men like Kang Seo-jun aren't just friendly to women like you. Minjun walked to her desk with measured steps. Picked up the card. Read it silently. He's invited you to dinner. It wasn't a question. I haven't decided if. Are you going? Victoria looked up at him. At the man she'd spent 3 years learning to read through the smallest gestures. The slight tension in his shoulders meant stress. The way he adjusted his watch meant he was thinking. The almost invisible tightness around his eyes right now meant something she'd never seen before. He was losing control, and he hated it. I don't know, she said honestly. Something dangerous flashed across his face. Then it was gone, locked behind his usual mask. When he spoke again, his voice was perfectly calm, perfectly cold. Take the rest of the day off. Sir, you're dismissed, Victoria. Go home. He walked back into his office, closed the door, and Victoria sat there, heart pounding, knowing something had just fundamentally changed between them. She just didn't know what. Welcome to Afro-Korean Love Stories. If you're loving this story, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to watch would leave you speechless. Tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I'd really love to know. Now, let's dive into it. 3 years earlier, Victoria had stepped off the plane at Incheon Airport carrying one suitcase and a business degree she'd never planned to use in Korea. This wasn't supposed to be her life. But life had a way of burning down your plans and forcing you to build something new from the ashes. She'd left home to escape memories that wouldn't let her breathe. Korea was random, distant. A place where nobody knew her story or expected anything from her past. The first 6 months were survival. Small apartment. Basic job. Learning Korean with obsessive focus because staying busy meant not thinking. Then she saw the posting. Executive secretary. Salary that seemed too good to be real. One requirement. Absolute discretion. The interview lasted 10 minutes. Minjun had looked at her resume once. You speak Korean. Fluently. No family here. No connections. None. My previous secretary talked too much. Are you someone who asks questions? Something in his tone warned her to be careful. Only when necessary. His eyes studied her. Cold. Calculating. Looking for weakness. She'd met his gaze without flinching. She'd survived too much to be intimidated by a man in an expensive suit. You start Monday. Don't be late. That was it. No details about the company. No explanation of duties. She should have known then what she was walking into. The first month revealed the truth in pieces. The meetings that happened after midnight. The men with guns under their jackets. The phone calls in coded language. The way people's faces went pale when they heard Minjun's name. Her boss wasn't a businessman. He was something far more dangerous. Victoria had considered quitting exactly once. Then she'd seen him break a man's wrist for grabbing her arm too roughly. Casual violence. No hesitation. Like swatting an insect. "Nobody touches my secretary," Minjun had said, returning to his paperwork. Not nobody touches women. Not that was inappropriate. My secretary. She'd understood then. Working for Minjun meant being under his protection. In his world, that meant something. So she'd stayed. The second month, her nature betrayed her. Victoria had always been a caretaker. It was instinct. Noticing when people were tired, hungry, stressed. Her mother used to say she felt too much, cared too deeply. She tried to suppress it with Minjun, tried to stay professional and distant. But she started noticing things. The way he'd work 20-hour days without eating. The exhaustion he hid behind perfect posture. The tension that never quite left his shoulders. One evening, she'd made tea and brought it to his desk. "You didn't ask for this," Minjun had said, not looking up from his documents. "You didn't eat lunch." "How would you know that?" "Because you never eat when you're managing a crisis. And you've been on the phone with your accountant for 3 hours. He'd looked at her then. Really looked. Like he was seeing something unexpected. "I don't need. It's already made." For a long moment, he just stared at the cup. Then he'd picked it up. Taken one sip. Then another. Victoria had returned to her desk, feeling absurdly pleased. She'd started doing it regularly after that. Tea when he was stressed. Quiet reminders about rest. Small gestures of care. Minjun had hated it at first. She could tell. Every kindness made him stiffen. Like he didn't know how to process someone caring without wanting something in return. But gradually, incrementally, things changed. He started keeping the snacks she liked in his office. Rearranged schedules so she could leave early on Fridays. His voice would soften, barely, almost imperceptibly, when he said her name. Small things. Controlled things. But Victoria noticed everything. By the 6th month, she'd realized the truth she'd been avoiding. The days Minjun was out of the office felt empty. Wrong. She'd catch herself listening for his footsteps, anticipating his needs before he voiced them, finding excuses to stay late. And sometimes, just sometimes, she'd catch him watching her with an expression he'd quickly hide. Something hungry beneath the ice. Something that made her pulse race. But he never crossed the line. Never touched her beyond professional necessity. Never said anything that couldn't be explained as normal boss-secretary interaction. Minjun's control was absolute. Until the flowers arrived. Victoria didn't go home. She sat in a cafe 3 blocks from the office, staring at her untouched coffee, replaying the look on Minjun's face when he'd seen those flowers. The barely contained rage. The possession in his voice. The way he dismissed her like he couldn't stand to be in the same room. Her phone buzzed. And unknown number. "This is CO June. I hope the flowers weren't too forward. I haven't been able to stop thinking about our conversation at the gala. Would you give me the chance to take you to dinner?" She should say yes. CO June was everything that made sense. Successful, kind, legitimate. A man who could offer her a normal life. A man who wouldn't put her in danger just by association. A man who wasn't Minjun. Her phone buzzed again. Minjun text came in, "Come back to the office." Her heart jumped. He never texted. Always called. This was different. She replied, "You dismissed me for the day." Minjun's response, "I'm undismissing you. Now." She should make him wait. Should establish boundaries. Should do anything except what her foolish heart wanted. She paid for her coffee and headed back. The office was dark when she arrived. Only Minjun's door showed light underneath. Victoria's heels clicked against marble as she crossed the empty space. She knocked once. "Come in." Minjun stood by his window, hands in his pockets, looking out at Seoul's glittering skyline. He didn't turn when she entered. "Close the door." She did. The click seemed too loud in the silence. You wanted to see me, sir? Don't. His voice was tight. Don't call me that right now. Victoria's breath caught. Then what should I call you? Finally, he turned. The city lights behind him cast his face in shadow, but she could see the tension in every line of his body, the control he was fighting to maintain. Tell me about him. Who? Don't play games, Victoria. Kong Seo-jun. Tell me about him. She lifted her chin. There's nothing to tell. We met at the charity gala last month. We talked. He was charming. That's all. Charming. Min-jun's jaw clenched. And the flowers? The dinner invitation? That's also nothing. I don't understand why you're so interested. He moved closer. Not touching. Never touching. But close enough that she could smell his cologne. Feel the heat radiating from him. You don't understand why I'm interested in which men are sending my secretary flowers? I'm your employee. What I do outside of work is your business. I know. He exhaled slowly, like the words cost him. You're right. What you do on your own time isn't my concern. Who you see, who you date, who makes you smile. None of that is my business. Victoria's chest ached at the careful distance in his voice, the way he was forcing himself to be reasonable. But, she whispered, but I need to know if you're going to dinner with him. Why? Because if you are, I need to prepare myself. For what? Min-jun's control cracked. Just for a second. Just enough for her to see the raw hunger underneath. For losing you. The confession hung between them. Dangerous. Irreversible. Victoria's pulse thundered in her ears. You can't lose something you never had. Can't I? His voice dropped. 3 years, Victoria. 3 years of you walking into my office every morning. 3 years of your terrible tea that I drink anyway, because you made it for me. 3 years of you caring about whether I eat, whether I sleep, whether I'm okay. Do you know what that's done to me? She couldn't breathe, couldn't move. I've built my entire life on control, he continued. On never wanting anything I can't have. Never feeling anything that makes me weak. And then you, he stopped. Turned away. You made me weak. Min-jun. The days you're not here, I can't focus. When you're sick, I rearrange my schedule to check on you. When you smile at someone else, I want to know why. I've become the kind of man I despise. Possessive. Irrational. Jealous over a woman who isn't even mine. Victoria's hands trembled. Then why didn't you ever say anything? He laughed bitterly. Because you deserve better than this. Better than me. Kong Seo-jun can give you safety. Legitimacy. A life that won't end with you caught in the crossfire of my enemies. He's everything I'm not. And if I don't want everything he is? Min-jun went very still. What? She stepped closer. Her heart was racing, but her voice was steady. You think I don't know what you are? What you do? I've known since week 2. I've had 3 years to leave, Min-jun. 3 years to find a safer job, a normal boss, a life that makes sense. Then why didn't you? Because the days you're not here feel empty too. The confession tumbled out. Because I make you tea even though I hate making tea. Because I notice everything about you. When you're stressed, when you're tired, when something's bothering you. Because I've spent 3 years trying to convince myself that what I feel is just professional concern. His eyes locked on hers. And what do you feel, Victoria? Everything. Too much. Things that terrified her. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something that could destroy me, she whispered. And I still want to jump. Min-jun closed the distance between them in 2 steps. Still not touching, but close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. If you jump, I can't promise you soft landing. I can't promise you safe. My world is violent and ugly, and it will try to hurt you just to hurt me. I know. Kong Seo-jun can give you everything I can't. I know that too. Then why? Because he doesn't make me feel alive, she said. He doesn't make my heart race when he walks into a room. He doesn't make me count down minutes until I see him again. He doesn't look at me like I'm the only thing in his world that matters. Minjun's control shattered completely. She saw it happen. Saw 3 years of restraint break apart. His hand came up slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, his fingers traced her jawline with devastating gentleness. If I touch you, he said quietly, I won't be able to stop. If I kiss you, I won't be able to let you go. And if you're mine, Victoria, I will burn down anything that tries to take you from me, including Kong Seo-jun and his flowers. Her breath hitched. Is that a threat? It's a promise. She should run, should protect herself, should choose the safe option. Instead, she leaned into his touch. Then touch me. Minjun's restraint broke like a dam. His mouth crashed against hers with 3 years of pent-up hunger. Not gentle, not soft. Desperate and claiming and absolutely consuming. Victoria gasped against his lips, and he swallowed the sound, one hand tangling in her hair while the other pulled her flesh against him. She'd imagined this moment 1,000 times, but reality was so much more intense. He kissed like a man starving, like she was air and he'd been drowning. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. His forehead rested against hers. Mine, he whispered. Say it. Yours, Victoria breathed. I'm yours. Something fierce and possessive flashed in his eyes. Then Seo-jun's dinner invitation? I'll tell him no. Good. Minjun's thumb traced her swollen bottom lip. Because I don't share, Victoria. Not you. Not ever. She smiled against his touch. Is that your way of asking me to dinner? No. His lips curved in the first real smile she'd ever seen from him. It transformed his entire face, made him look younger, almost gentle. That's my way of telling you that you're having dinner with me. Tonight. Tomorrow night. Every night if I have my way. Possessive. Completely. He kissed her again, softer this time. I've waited 3 years for this. I'm not wasting another second. Victoria's phone buzzed in her pocket. They both knew who it was. Minjun pulled back just enough to look at her. The question in his eyes was clear. She pulled out her phone, typed quickly. Thank you for the flowers, Seo-jun. They were beautiful, but I can't accept your dinner invitation. I'm seeing someone. She showed Minjun the message before sending it. His smile was sharp, satisfied, absolutely triumphant. Send it. She did. And then Minjun was kissing her again, and Victoria forgot about flowers and dinner invitations and everything except the feeling of finally being exactly where she belonged. In the arms of Seoul's most dangerous man, who looked at her like she was his salvation. Wait, before we proceed, besties, are you feeling the tension? Drop a comment right now and tell me. Did Minjun wait too long to confess? Or was the timing perfect? And do you think Victoria made the right choice? I'm reading every single comment, so don't hold back. If you're already hooked, smash that like button because trust me, things are about to get way more complicated. The next morning, Victoria arrived at the office with her heart still racing from the night before. Dinner had been intimate, private. Minjun had taken her to a restaurant that didn't exist on any map, where the owner had greeted him with respectful fear and seated them in a room with no other diners. They talked for hours. Real conversation. Not boss and secretary. Just two people who'd been circling each other for 3 years finally letting their guards down. He told her about his childhood, the violence that had shaped him, the choices that had led him into darkness. She told him about her family, the loss that had driven her across the world, the loneliness she'd been running from. And when he'd driven her home, he'd kissed her goodnight with a tenderness that had made her chest ache. I'm trying to do this right, he'd whispered against her lips. even though nothing about us is right. Now, walking into the office, Victoria wasn't sure how to act. Were they keeping the secret? Was everything supposed to change? Her questions evaporated when she saw her desk. Red roses. Dozens of them. Far more extravagant than CO June's white ones. No card needed. She knew exactly who they were from. Good morning, Victoria. She turned. Minjun stood in his office doorway, coffee in hand, looking completely composed in his charcoal suit, like he hadn't kissed her senseless 12 hours ago. But his eyes held a warmth that hadn't been there before. Good morning, sir, she said carefully. His lips twitched. Still, sir? In the office? Yes. Interesting. He took a sip of coffee. Did you sleep well? The innocent question carried weight. Heat. Eventually, she admitted. You. Not particularly. I kept thinking about my secretary. Victoria's cheeks warmed. Minjun. My office. Now. The command sent a thrill through her. She followed him inside. He closed the door. Then he was kissing her. Slow and deep and possessive. I've been awake since 5 thinking about doing that, he murmured against her mouth. We're at work, she protested weakly. My office. My rules. He pulled back, adjusting her collar with careful fingers. But you're right. We need to maintain professionalism, even if all I want is to keep you in here all day. Victoria smiled. The roses are beautiful. They're a statement. To who? Everyone. His expression hardened slightly, especially Kong Seo-jun. In case he didn't understand your message. He understood. He texted me this morning. Very gracious about it. Something dangerous flickered in Minjun's eyes. He texted you? To say he respected my decision and hoped we could still be friends. No. Victoria blinked. No. You're not being friends with a man who wants you. Minjun's voice was flat. Final. I don't care how gracious he is. That's unreasonable. I'm a criminal, Victoria. Unreasonable is part of the job description. He cupped her face. I told you last night I don't share. That includes your time, your attention, your friendship. Is that a problem? It should be. It was possessive and controlling and completely irrational. But the dark intensity in his eyes made her pulse race. No, she whispered. It's not a problem. Good. He kissed her forehead. Now get back to work. We have a conference call in 20 minutes. Victoria laughed. Just like that? Back to normal. Nothing about this is normal. Minjun's smile was dangerous. But we're going to pretend it is. Until I can get you alone again tonight. She returned to her desk, still smiling, and tried to focus on work. The morning passed in a blur of emails and phone calls. Normal business. Except nothing felt normal anymore. Every time Minjun looked at her, heat simmered in his gaze. Every time their hands brushed passing documents, electricity sparked. At noon, his door opened. Victoria, I need you to. He stopped. His entire body went rigid. Victoria looked up, then froze. Kang Seo-jun stood in the reception area, holding another bouquet. White lilies this time. I hope I'm not intruding, Seo-jun said with a warm smile. I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd drop by to say hello properly. The temperature in the room plummeted. Minjun walked forward with measured steps. His face was a mask of cold politeness. But Victoria could see the rage simmering underneath. Mr. Kong, what an unexpected visit. Seo-jun's smile didn't waver. Mr. Kwan, I don't believe we've been formally introduced, though of course I know your reputation. I'm sure you do. Minjun's voice was silk over steel. To what do we owe the pleasure? I came to see Victoria, actually. Seo-jun turned to her. I wanted to apologize in person for any awkwardness yesterday, and to make sure we're still on good terms. Victoria stood slowly. Her heart was pounding. That's very kind, but you didn't need to come all this way. It was no trouble. Seo Jun held out the lilies. These are friendship flowers. No romantic implications. Just a peace offering between friends. The silence stretched. Dangerous. Suffocating. Minjun spoke first. My secretary doesn't accept gifts from business acquaintances. Company policy. Seo Jun's eyebrows rose. I wasn't aware Victoria and I had a business relationship. You don't, which makes the gift even more inappropriate. The air crackled with tension. Two powerful men facing off over her like she was a prize to be won. Victoria had enough. Seo Jun, I appreciate the gesture. But Minjun is right. It's not appropriate. She kept her voice gentle but firm. I meant what I said in my text. I'm seeing someone. We can't be friends. The mysterious someone. Seo Jun's smile dimmed slightly. Anyone I know? That's none of your concern, Minjun said coldly. Seo Jun looked between them. Understanding dawned in his eyes. I see. His expression shifted. Something harder entered his gaze. How long? Excuse me? Victoria asked. How long have you two been involved? Seo Jun directed the question at Minjun. Before or after I sent the flowers? Leave, Minjun said quietly. Now. I'm just trying to understand. I said leave. The threat in Minjun's voice was unmistakable. Before I make you. Seo Jun set the flowers down carefully. When he looked at Victoria, disappointment clouded his features. I thought you were different, he said softly. I thought you wanted more than this world. More than him. The words stung, because part of her had wanted exactly that. I'm sorry, Victoria said honestly, but this is my choice. A choice you'll regret. Seo Jun headed for the door, then paused. Minjun's world destroys everything it touches, Victoria. I hope you realize that before it's too late. He left. The silence that followed was deafening. Victoria turned to Minjun. His expression was unreadable, but his hands were clenched into fists. Are you okay? She asked quietly. Did you want to accept them? The flowers? What? No. Did you want to be friends with him? Minjun. Answer the question. His eyes locked on hers. Do you want Kong Seo Jun in your life? No, she said firmly. I want you. Some of the tension left his shoulders. He's not wrong, you know. My world will try to destroy you. Let it try. Minjun moved closer, cupped her face with both hands. He could give you everything I can't. Stop saying that. Victoria covered his hands with hers. I don't want what he's offering. I want this. Us. Whatever that looks like. Even if it's dangerous, even then. He kissed her, deep and claiming, pouring 3 years of want and need and possession into it. When he pulled back, his expression was fierce. He won't give up easily. Men like Seo Jun don't accept rejection well. Then he'll have to learn. Minjun's smile was sharp. Dangerous. Or I'll teach him. Victoria shivered. Not from fear. From the dark thrill of being claimed by a man who would burn the world down to keep her. Come to dinner with me tonight, Minjun said. Somewhere public. Somewhere everyone will see us together. Is that wise? No. But I want the world to know you're mine. His thumb traced her bottom lip. Unless you'd rather keep this secret, Victoria thought about safety, about discretion, about all the sensible reasons to hide. Then she thought about the way Minjun looked at her, like she was everything. No, she decided. No more secrets. His smile was devastating. Then we're something beautiful. I'm taking my woman out. My woman. Victoria's heart soared at the possessive claim. She was falling into something dangerous and consuming and absolutely inevitable. And she'd never felt more alive. The restaurant Minjun chose wasn't hidden. It was Seoul's most exclusive dining establishment, where Korea's elite gathered to see and be seen. Walking in on Minjun's arm, Victoria felt every eye in the room turn toward them. The whispers started immediately. Is that Kwon Minjun? Who's the woman with him? I've never seen him with anyone before. Minjun's hand rested possessively on her lower back as the host led them to the best table. Prime location. Maximum visibility. This wasn't just dinner. It was a declaration. Everyone staring, Victoria murmured as they sat. Good. Minjun's eyes never left her face. Let them stare. Let them talk. By tomorrow morning, all of Seoul will know you're mine. And that doesn't worry you? The attention. What worries me is other men thinking they have a chance. He reached across the table, took her hand. The gesture was tender, public, deliberate. This eliminates any confusion. Victoria's heart swelled. You're really not subtle, are you? I've spent 3 years being subtle. I'm done with that. His thumb traced circles on her palm. How does it feel? Being claimed by the monster? You're not a monster. I've done monstrous things, Victoria. I know. She squeezed his hand. And I'm choosing you anyway. Something vulnerable flashed in his eyes. Why? Because monsters don't make tea the way I like it after learning I prefer honey to sugar. Monsters don't rearrange their entire schedule so their secretary can visit her friend in Busan. Monsters don't look at someone like they're the only good thing in their world. Minjun's grip tightened on her hand. You see too much. I see you, she corrected. The real you. Under all the control and ice and danger. And I love what I see. He went completely still. What did you say? Victoria's breath caught. The words had slipped out. Too soon. Too much. But she meant them. I love you, she said clearly. I've probably loved you for longer than I should admit. And I know it's fast and complicated and probably stupid. Minjun stood abruptly, pulled her to her feet, kissed her in front of everyone. Deep, possessive, absolutely claiming. The restaurant went silent. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against hers. Say it again, he whispered. I love you. Again. I love you, Minjun. His eyes closed, like the words physically affected him. I've never heard anyone say that to me before. Not once in my entire life. Victoria's heart broke and soared simultaneously. Then I'll say it every day until you believe it. I believe it. He cupped her face. And I love you too. Desperately. Dangerously. In ways that probably aren't healthy. She laughed through sudden tears. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm not good at this. Romance. Relationships. Normal. Good thing I don't want normal. He smiled. Actually smiled. Full and genuine and beautiful. The moment shattered when his phone buzzed. Minjun glanced at the screen. His expression hardened instantly. What's wrong? Victoria asked. We need to leave. Now. The command in his voice made her move without question. Minjun threw cash on the table, his hand firm on her back as he guided her toward the exit. Minjun, what's happening? Kang Seo-jun just bought a significant share in one of my legitimate businesses, he said quietly. And he's calling an emergency board meeting to vote me out. Victoria's stomach dropped. He's retaliating. He's declaring war. Minjun's jaw clenched. I underestimated him. I thought he'd accept defeat gracefully. I was wrong. They reached his car. His driver already had the engine running. Where are we going? Victoria asked as they slid inside. My penthouse. It's the most secure location I have. Minjun pulled out his phone, making rapid calls. I need to contain this before it spreads. Victoria watched him shift into the cold, calculating businessman she'd first met 3 years ago. The warmth from dinner was gone, replaced by strategic precision. But his hand never left hers. Over the next hour, Minjun orchestrated a counterattack from his living room. Phone calls, video conferences, Threats delivered in perfectly polite language. Victoria sat on his couch, watching the man she loved wage corporate warfare. Finally, around midnight, he ended the last call. "It's handled," he said, exhaustion creeping into his voice. "For now." "What did you do?" "Reminded certain board members that I know things about them they'd prefer kept private." Min-jun poured himself whiskey. Seo Jun's shares don't matter if nobody votes with him. That's blackmail. That's business. He downed the drink. "In my world, anyway." Victoria stood, crossed him. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." "Min-jun." "I said I'm fine." His voice was sharp. Then he closed his eyes. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't snap at you." She wrapped her arms around him from behind, felt him tense, then gradually relax. "This is because of me," Victoria said quietly. "He's doing this because I chose you. This is because he's a spoiled boy who's never been told no." Min-jun turned in her embrace. "Don't take responsibility for his actions. But if I had just..." "What?" "Chosen him to keep the peace." Min-jun's eyes flashed. "Is that what you wish?" "No." "But I hate that loving me is causing you problems." "Victoria." He gripped her shoulders. "Look at me. Really look at me. Do I look like a man who regrets his choice?" She studied his face, saw exhaustion, stress, determination, and underneath it all, fierce devotion. "No," she admitted. "Then trust that I can handle Kong Seo-jun. Trust that you're worth every battle I have to fight." He pulled her close. "Because you are. You're worth everything." Victoria buried her face in his chest, felt his heart beating steady and strong. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too." He kissed the top of her head. "And I'm going to protect you, no matter what it costs." That promise should have comforted her. Instead, it sent ice down her spine. Because in Min-jun's world, protection often came with a terrible price. And Victoria was starting to realize just how high that price might be. Over the next week, the war escalated. Seo-jun made moves. Min-jun countered. Back and forth like a deadly chess game played with companies and reputations. Victoria watched from the inside, seeing both men's obsession grow. Seo-jun wasn't just fighting for business anymore. This had become personal, a matter of pride. He wanted to prove that legitimate power could triumph over Min-jun's criminal empire. And Min-jun? He was fighting to protect what was his. To prove that no one, no matter how wealthy or connected, could take Victoria from him. She'd become the prize in a war between two dangerous men. The thought terrified her. Friday evening, Victoria was working late when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello." "Victoria, it's Seo-jun." Her blood went cold. "How did you get this number?" "I'm a resourceful man." His voice was gentle, concerned. "I need to talk to you. In person. It's important. I have nothing to say to you. It's about Min-jun. About things you need to know. Things he's hiding from you." Victoria's grip tightened on the phone. "I'm not interested in." "He killed someone last week. Did he tell you that?" Seo-jun's words were quiet, devastating. "One of my business partners. Made it look like an accident. That's who you're in love with, Victoria. A murderer." Her heart stopped. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Ask him. Ask him what happened to Park Jin-woo. See if he denies it." The line went dead. Victoria sat frozen, the phone trembling in her hand. It couldn't be true. Min-jun wouldn't. But he would. She knew he would. She'd always known what he was capable of. The office door opened. Min-jun walked in, tie loosened, looking exhausted. "Sorry I'm late." The meeting ran, he stopped. "What's wrong?" Victoria stood slowly. "Did you kill someone named Park Jin-woo?" Min-jun's expression went carefully blank. "Who told you that?" "Is it true?" Silence. Then, quietly, yes. The world tilted. Victoria gripped the desk for support. He was going to testify against me. Minjun continued. His voice was flat, emotionless. Give evidence to prosecutors. I couldn't let that happen. So you killed him. So I eliminated a threat. Oh my God. Victoria's hands shook. You murdered someone. I've murdered a lot of people, Victoria. Minjun's eyes were hard. This isn't news. You knew what I was. Knowing and hearing you admit it are different things. Then maybe you should leave. The words were cold, final. If you can't handle the reality of who I am. Victoria stared at him, at the man she loved, the man who just casually admitted to murder. Is this worth it? She whispered. Am I worth becoming a killer? Minjun crossed the distance between them in 3 steps, gripped her face with both hands. You're worth everything, he said fiercely. Every sin, every crime, every drop of blood on my hands. And I'd do it again. I'd kill anyone who threatens you or threatens us. That's who I am, Victoria. That's what loving me means. Tears streamed down her face. I don't know if I can. Yes, you can. His forehead pressed against hers. Because you love me. Because you see past the monster to the man. Because you're the only person who's ever made me want to be better. But you're not better. You just killed someone to protect us, to protect what we have. His voice cracked. Don't ask me to apologize for that. I won't. Victoria pulled away. Her mind was spinning. Her heart was breaking. I need time, she said. I need to think. How much time? I don't know. Minjun's expression shuddered. Back to the cold, controlled boss she'd first met. Take all the time you need, he said quietly. But know this, I'm not letting you go. Whatever you decide, wherever you go, you're mine. And I'll wait for you to remember that. Victoria grabbed her bag with shaking hands. Walked to the door. Victoria. She stopped but didn't turn. I love you, Minjun said. That's the one thing I'll never apologize for. She left without responding, and didn't see the figure watching from across the street. Kong Seo-jun, smiling. His plan was working perfectly. Okay, besties, let's pause for a moment. Be honest with me in the comments. If you were Victoria, could you love someone who just admitted to a crime such as this? Would you stay or would you run? There's no wrong answer here. I genuinely want to know what you would do. And hit that subscribe button, because the next part is where everything falls apart in the most heartbreaking way possible. You need to see what happens next. Victoria didn't sleep that night. She sat in her apartment, staring at nothing, Minjun's words echoing in her mind. I've murdered a lot of people. The casual admission, the lack of remorse, the cold calculation in his eyes when he'd said it. This was the reality she'd signed up for. This was what loving Minjun actually meant. Her phone buzzed constantly. Messages from him. Please talk to me. I know you're scared. I understand. Just tell me you're safe. She didn't respond. Couldn't. Around 3 a.m, her doorbell rang. Victoria's heart jumped. She knew who it was before she opened the door. Minjun stood there, still in his suit from earlier, looking like he hadn't slept either. His eyes were bloodshot. Desperate. You weren't answering, he said quietly. I needed to know you were okay. I'm fine. You're not. He stepped inside without invitation. And neither am I. Victoria closed the door. You shouldn't be here. I shouldn't do a lot of things. But when it comes to you, I can't help myself. Minjun ran a hand through his hair. Talk to me, Victoria. Yell at me. Hit me if you need to. Just don't shut me out. What do you want me to say? Her voice broke. That I'm okay with you killing people? That I can just accept that the man I love is a murderer? I want you to see the whole picture. Park Jin-woo wasn't innocent. He was laundering money for human traffickers. He sold children, Victoria. The prosecutors wanted him as a witness, but he would have walked free in exchange for testifying against me. Victoria's stomach turned. So, you decided to be judge and executioner? I decided he didn't deserve to breathe. Minjun's voice was hard. Would you rather I let him walk? Let him continue destroying lives? That's not the point. Then what is the point? He moved closer. Tell me what you need me to say. Tell me what will make this okay. Nothing makes it okay. Tears spilled down her cheeks. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I love you. God help me. I love you so much it hurts. But I don't know if I can live with this. With knowing what you've done. What you'll do again. Minjun's expression crumbled. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked truly vulnerable. Then I'll stop, he said desperately. I'll get out. Walk away from everything. We can leave Seoul. Start over somewhere new. Just don't leave me, Victoria. Please. She stared at him. You can't just walk away from this life. I can try. For you, I'll try. And when your enemies come after you, when the people you've wronged want revenge, what then? Silence. Because they both knew the truth. Men like Minjun didn't get happy endings. Didn't get to ride off into the sunset and leave their past behind. I'm trapped, she whispered. Aren't I? Whether I stay or leave, I'm already in too deep. Minjun's hands clenched at his sides. I should never have touched you. Should never have let myself want you. I've ruined everything good about you. Stop it. It's true. Seo Jun was right. My world destroys everything. And now it's destroying you. Victoria grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Listen to me. You didn't ruin me. You woke me up. For 3 years, I was sleepwalking through life, going through motions. And then you, her voice caught. You made me feel again, made me want things, made me brave enough to jump even knowing I might fall. Then why are you pulling away? Because I'm scared. The confession burst out. I'm terrified that loving you will get me killed. Or worse, that I'll become someone I don't recognize. Someone who accepts murder as necessary. Someone who... Minjun kissed her, desperate and pleading and full of everything he couldn't say. Victoria kissed him back through her tears, poured all her confusion and fear and love into it. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. I can't promise you safety, Minjun whispered against her lips. I can't promise you normal, but I can promise you that every breath I take, every decision I make, will be about protecting you, about being worthy of you. You can't change who you are. No. But I can be better than I was. For you. His forehead pressed against hers. Just don't give up on me. Please, Victoria. Don't give up on us. She wanted to say yes, wanted to fall into his arms and pretend everything was simple. But nothing about this was simple. I need time, she said again. Real time. To figure out if I can actually live with this. Pain flashed across Minjun's face. But he nodded. How much time? I don't know. Days? Weeks? I don't know. Her voice rose. I don't have answers, Minjun. I just know that right now, standing here, I can't think clearly. I can't separate what I feel from what I know is right. He stepped back. The distance between them felt like miles. Then I'll give you space, he said quietly. But I meant what I said. You're mine, Victoria. And I'll be here waiting when you're ready to come back to me. And if I don't come back? Minjun's smile was sad. Broken. Then I'll spend the rest of my life regretting that I ever dragged you into my darkness. He left. Victoria collapsed on her couch and sobbed. The next morning, her doorbell rang again. This time it was Seo Jun. I heard what happened, he said gently when she opened the door. I wanted to check on you. Victoria should have slammed the door in his face. Should have recognized the manipulation. But she was exhausted,
Heartbroken.
desperate for someone who represented something other than violence and darkness. How did you know? She asked. I have people watching Minjun's movements. For business reasons. Seo Jun's expression was concerned, caring. He showed up here last night, stayed for almost an hour. I assume you confronted him about Park Jinwoo. You told me to ask him, knowing what he'd say. I told you because you deserve the truth. Seo Jun stepped closer. I know you care about him, maybe even love him. But loving someone doesn't mean accepting everything they do. It doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. Victoria's defenses were crumbling. I don't know what to do. Come have coffee with me. Just as friends. Let me offer you a different perspective. She hesitated. Minjun would hate this, would see it as betrayal. But Minjun had murdered someone, had admitted to murdering many people. Didn't she deserve the right to make her own choices?
Just coffee, she said.
Nothing more. Seo Jun smiled. Just coffee. They went to a quiet cafe. Talked for hours. Seo Jun was everything Minjun wasn't. Gentle. Patient. He spoke about building legitimate businesses, about using wealth to help people rather than control them. He painted a picture of a life free from violence and fear. You could have this, he said softly. A real future. Children if you want them. A life where you don't wake up wondering if today's the day your lover's enemies come for you. I never said I wanted that. But you deserve it. Seo Jun reached across the table, took her hand. You deserve someone who doesn't have blood on their hands, who doesn't make you question your morals just by loving them. Victoria pulled her hand away. You don't know Minjun. Not really. I know enough. I know he's dangerous. I know he'll destroy you eventually, either through his actions or his enemies. Seo Jun's voice was earnest. I'm not saying you have to choose me. I'm saying you should choose yourself. Choose freedom. She wanted to argue, wanted to defend Minjun. But part of her, the part that was exhausted and scared and so tired of being strong, wondered if Seo Jun was right. They talked until sunset. When Seo Jun drove her home, he walked her to her door. Thank you for today, Victoria said. I needed perspective. Anytime. Seo Jun hesitated. Can I see you again? Just as friends. Just to talk. She should say no. Okay, she heard herself say. Just as friends. Seo Jun smiled and left. Victoria walked inside, feeling like she'd just crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Her phone buzzed. Minjun. I saw you with him. Her blood went cold. Minjun, we need to talk.
Now.
Before she could respond, there was pounding on her door. Victoria opened it to find Minjun standing there, fury radiating from every line of his body. Just coffee, he said quietly. Too quietly. You told me you needed time to think. You didn't mention that thinking involved calling Seo Jun. It's not what you think. Then what is it? His control was fracturing. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like the woman I love is letting my enemy manipulate her. Is letting him convince her I'm the villain in this story. Maybe you are. The words burst out. Maybe he's right. Maybe loving you is the worst decision I've ever made. Minjun flinched like she'd struck him. The silence stretched. Terrible and heavy. When he spoke again, his voice was empty. Hollow. If that's what you believe, then there's nothing more to say. He turned to leave. Wait.
No.
He stopped but didn't face her. I told you I'd wait for you. I told you I'd give you time. But I won't compete with Seo Jun for your affection. I won't beg you to choose me over someone who can give you everything I can't. So make your choice, Victoria. Him or me. Safety or love. But make it now. Victoria's heart shattered. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. Minjun whirled around. I've spent my entire life being unfair. Being the villain. Being the monster. And I accepted it because I had nothing to lose. But then you walked into my life and made me want to be better, made me believe I could be more. And now you're standing here telling me that maybe I'm not worth it, that maybe Seo Jun's safe, clean world is better than what I can offer. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't say that. Then what are you saying? He stepped closer, desperate. Tell me what you want, Victoria. Tell me how to fix this. I want you to be someone you're not, she cried. I want you to have clean hands and a clear conscience. I want to love you without being terrified, without wondering if every choice you make will destroy us. I can't be that person. I know. Her voice broke. I know you can't. And that's what's killing me. Minjun's expression went cold. Shuddered. The vulnerable man disappeared, replaced by the ruthless Mafia boss. Then I'll make this easy for you, he said flatly. Go to Seo Jun. Let him give you the life you want, the life you deserve. I won't stand in your way. Minjun. We're done, Victoria. Consider this my gift to you. Your freedom. He walked away. This time, she didn't call him back. Victoria collapsed against her doorframe and wept, not realizing that Seo Jun was parked down the street, watching,
Smiling.
because breaking them apart was only step one. Now came the real plan. This story isn't over. Not even close. Part 2 is coming, and you're about to discover Seo Jun's real plan, the devastating secret Minjun has been hiding, and a betrayal that will leave you absolutely speechless. If you've not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because when part 2 drops, you'll want to be first in line. Also, if this story broke your heart the way it broke mine, hit that like button so I know you're invested in Victoria's journey. Love can be so hard sometimes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode where everything you think you know is about to get flipped upside down. Until then, stay tuned and keep those comments coming.